So this has become an increasingly more important topic that's tested more often. And I think in terms of something that would apply to things that you're going to actually encounter, this would be something that you might have to figure out if you're doing something in terms of, finding how big a tank is or how deep you have to dig a hole or whatever else is going on. So what we know here is we know the volume of the shape. All right, so we're given the volume. So right there it says we're given the volume of the figure. And what we have to do is find out a specific dimension of that shape. All right. You'll notice this as you go down through, but I wanted to put this kind of in the beginning here. You're going to use division. All right. So you're going to use division. So we're going to be very careful when we're dividing this stuff. I'm going to give you a general kind of idea of what these are going to look like here in this white space here. But first of all, again, same as every single thing we're doing here. Make sure that you check your units beforehand. And I'll tell you that I mixed these problems hopefully together so that some have the same units and then randomly one doesn't. So you have to make sure you check the units. Random kind of example here. Let's just take a cylinder. So a cylinder formula is pi r squared h. That's the volume of a cylinder that you've already done. So let's say that the volume was randomly 2,500. And it said the cylinder was 15, let's say 15 tall. So it would be pi r squared times 15. So first of all, we put into the formula what we know. We know the volume, we know the height. Okay, we do not know the radius. So we need to isolate that r squared. So in algebra, you guys should have done a lot of things where you were solving equations for different variables and messing around with things. No different here. So what I have to think about is I need that r squared to be by itself, which means I need to get rid of this and get rid of this. So number one, opposite operations. Good news. All right, we don't have to think about this too much because every single volume formula is all multiplication. Everything's multiplied together. So that means we're going to use division. For every single thing that we do, it's going to be division. Okay, last year, I realized that it was just better to use the fraction piece of a calculator to do this. So I'm going to divide the pi and the 15 away from there. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of that, leave it with r squared. So I'm going to get rid of the pi, I'm going to get rid of the 15. This thing right here is going into the calculator as a fraction. So in calculator as a fraction. I used to do it differently. It had to have parentheses and things, which didn't work well. Last year, about halfway through the unit, I realized, why aren't we just doing it this way? So I'm going to give you an example here. So we're going to go to this. We're going to say alpha y equals, to get the fraction, 2,500. On the bottom, we're just going to type in pi, and then I can use parentheses or times 15, and I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to give me 53.051. So 53.051, blah, blah, blah. And that's going to be equal to r squared. Now, sometimes I'll be done. Sometimes I won't be done. All right. In this case, I have to get rid of a squared, which means take a square root. So I go back to my calculator, square root of that answer right there. It means my radius would be 7.283 because I took the square root. So 7.283, blah, 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 equals the radius. All right. But the most important thing I want you to see here is this guy right here. Every single problem in this entire file is going to need you to do some division to get the answer out of there. All right, you might have to take the square root, and then as my last little piece here, for any kind of sphere, it has an r to the third in the formula. To get rid of a third power, you're going to use a third root, which looks like that. That comes from the math button. Do not type into your calculator 3 and then square root. That is not the same thing. All right, you have to use the math button, and you'll see some examples like this in this file. Make sure you try them out, see what's going on with them.